rise to the pledge of allegiance.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm there every Tuesday at that. Sounds good.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We've got the agenda over on the wall today, so we've been getting a lot of good ideas from the public. Roll call.
Kramer?
Here.
Webb here, Ridley?
Here.
Blasvik? Here. Vance?
Here.
Minutes of the September meeting
And
and a special meeting.
Are we doing the first meeting or the special meeting right now?
This is the, that would be the first one, this first page.
Yeah, it's September 7th.
Yep.
The second one is the 14th.
I'd like to make one amendment on the Parks Commission. They were talking about doing a, what's it called, like a, not, a fund, they were trying to do
Revenue?
some revenue fund.
Stream.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that doesn't have any comment in here about that, so I'd like to make sure that that was recorded.
Closing revenue front, work on a revenue stream.
Revenue stream, yes.
Could we have the microphones on?
I got on.
A little closer.
Sorry about that.
I don't think yours is on, Jen.
I don't think so.
Okay, looked at the minutes, any changes? Dispense the minutes as written.
No.
I'm,
that's one
oh yeah, with
amendment.
one amendment, I'm sorry, then we need a motion, I'm sorry.
I can do that.
This is under Parks Commission proposing a revenue stream, investigating a revenue stream, okay. Is there a motion to accept the regular minutes from the regular meeting? Motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there support?
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Special meeting? No changes, no edits, then we will dispense these minutes as written. Okay, the agenda. You touch that, Jay, just touch the pad on there, thank you.
I want to talk about hiring policy.
Discuss the hiring policy?
Yes. And we have a special announcement that we want to make at some point.
Yep, we got a very special announcement if you haven't heard it already. You want to put that with your, well, you know what, let's do it right now.
Okay.
But Mr. Kramer has an announcement to make.
For those
Please
who-
stand up because they won't be able to hear you in the back.
Okay, for those of you that haven't seen the Township Facebook page, this community will get a brand new 12,500 square foot Veterans Administration clinic at exit 310 right there on M68 where you go by the signs and got all those real estate signs. It's going to be right there. They're going to start excavating the site next month, early next month. They'll be taking about 12 feet of that hill away. 35 employees, which will transfer down from the Mackinac City VA clinic, which will close. 150 parking spaces. Room for future growth. The developer who is developing this for the VA owns 9 clinics in northern Michigan. He builds Bixby Coffee places. His partner owns the Save-A-Lot grocery stores. So these folks were here today to visit with Mike and I, and it's just incredible that they're going to move so quick, and they hope to have the building done by the end of
Hopefully
next
by
year.
the end of next year.
So, and the reason this is a big deal for us is because people will be coming from Emmett County, Petoskey, Charlevoix, up by the airport, from Onaway,
Sheboygan.
from Sheboygan, and they all gotta come by the fish. So, it's gonna be really good for us, and it's gonna be great for our veterans. We have a lot of veterans, as you know, in this area. So, I'm really looking forward to this, and, we've been working with the developer for a long time, almost a year, right, Mike?
Almost a year.
And, he's really down to earth. His name is Jeff.
Gotcha, yeah.
And he owns quite a bit of stuff over in
Alpena.
Alpena.
All over.
If you've ever been to the Maritime Museum, he owns that and leases that. He's restoring the 2 theaters over there. He's quite a gentleman, and we hope to see more of him, so thank you.
And I'd like to point out that it was Mr. Kramer who really spearheaded this thing when he saw a news article that brought it to his attention that it was going, and he got a hold of VA and really did the heavy lifting on this project. So we owe Mr. Kramer quite a debt of gratitude. We really do. So we got that. Been waiting to say that, haven't you?
I've known about it for a couple of weeks and I wasn't allowed to say anything.
Come home from work and the wife's going, "What's wrong?" "Nothing, really. Just nothing, don't ask." Okay, is there any more, is there a motion to accept the agenda as
We do need to talk about one other, we need to talk about this letter.
The letter to the property.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to do that during the sewer report?
Yeah, let's do that during the sewer
Yes,
report,
sir.
because that is the, yes, okay.
Got it. Yes, sir.
Okay, is there a motion?
Are we gonna review the budget?
Yeah, during,
Finance-
treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report.
Okay, all
And
right.
bills.
I need a motion.
Be separate. I make the motion.
Is there support?
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Correspondence. I think we have,
Public comment.
oh, I'm sorry, public, ready, okay, public comment on agenda items. Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yep, go ahead.
Bob, my name's Jay Reedsman. I'm glad you brought up the budget, because I went online today to find out how we're doing on the budget. And there's no evidence of any feedback or any kind of status as to how we're doing on the budget. Sure.
Put that button.
How's that?
Hold it down.
Yeah, hold it down so.
All right. It's working.
There you go.
Okay.
It's working, okay. So I went online to look at the budget, and there's nothing there that reporting from July or August or September relative to what our actual costs and expenses were. But worse than that, the budget is not complete. It's missing the police department on there, it's missing the DDA on there, and it has errors in there. It's got a $36,000 plus, what should be a minus. It's got ambiguous summaries in there, and it still doesn't add up to what the total budget is for the township for this budget year. So my question is, when will all this get corrected? Either we have a budget and we use the budget, we hold people accountable to the budget, or we don't. We just simply wave a document that says budget and we're good to go. Because that's kind of where we're at right now. Were you able to look into any of the questions I had?
Yes, we're gonna address them as we go through the evening, and then,
All right.
and board comments, we'll have a few.
One last question, who owns the budget?
Good question.
Dawn does, okay. So, in all further conversation, I should direct my comments or my questions towards you then. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Public comment on agenda items?
Mike?
Yes, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Pat.
Just real quick, I'd like to point out the VA clinic, as great as it's going to be, wouldn't happen without sewers.
You're absolutely right. If I could just tag on that, we had that discussion today, and that was the reason for his visit.
on. Yes, Carol?
The agenda in general, as opposed to any specifics on there. Basically, at a time when all the Karens of the world and all the squeaky wheels that come to the township meetings, they protest and they make negative speeches and negative comments. I just want to go on record, they don't represent my opinions or many of the other people in the room just because they're louder. And I actually support the board, your decisions, and your actions, and thank you.
Public comment? Close that. Place. Correspondence. Got one letter. Do you have anything else? I've got one letter from American Rescue Plan. I don't know if you're familiar or heard about it, but we starts with we have received $305,000 in COVID relief money, and how much is in the bank? Not in our books yet, but it's in our bank.
152.
152,000. So we'll be discussing some things to do later on in the meeting, about what we can do with that. But we've been hit with some pretty good news lately. So, okay, correspondence is closed. Treasurer's report and bills.
All right. In the general account, $2,643,714.30. Tax account, $208,602.74. Both include interest.
Okay.
And then you all have the bills if there's any questions, otherwise we can motion to pay those.
Give me a minute on the bills.
I was wondering if it would be possible, if we could get some of this stuff like the bills and the budget, quarterly budget report and things like that sent to us a couple of days ahead of the meeting. It's very difficult to go through so much in such a small amount of time, that we have, because like everybody knows, my only, and Bob's only statutory duty is financial oversight, so we need to be able to have time to do the oversight. So I was hoping we could start getting that in advance, a few days in advance.
Well, we can, but it might not be accurate because today I was processing invoices.
Microphone, is your microphone on?
Cannot hear you.
No.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, turn it first. There you go.
You gotta hold the
There you
button
go.
down.
Yep.
You're on.
Okay. So I said we can, but it may not be accurate if I give you a couple of days in advance. I was processing invoices today. Checks I processed the last of the checks on Thursday, and was not here Friday to run the report, so it changes almost daily.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
Well,
So
if you
I-
send it to us even on a Monday morning, that we have
I could-
time
I
to
could
do
probably
that.
send you the check register, because I've been having that done ahead of time, but the invoice register, in the last 2 days, I've probably put through, I don't know, maybe a dozen invoices, to try to make sure that they're paid before the next meeting, because the due dates were prior to the next meeting. So
Right.
that's,
Well, I just send what you can, because, it's hard to process, like, we had pages and pages of stuff to go through at the last
Yep.
minute, and it's just very hard to process all that in just a few minutes, so send what you can, it would be helpful.
So my first question is, Mr. Thompson, what's that for?
Bruce,
Yeah,
he is our
I have these.
cemetery.
You got it.
okay, so, yeah, but,
Cemetery guy.
Cemetery guy,
So
so
we
he
pay
takes care of, yeah, we pay him to open and close graves,
okay.
and to also
Foundation.
foundations, headstone
Oh, wonderful,
foundations.
okay. What's with all the consumer energy bills?
Yeah, a lot of property, we're paying, I don't know, I pay
Every-
them every day.
They're all separate.
Separate light poles?
Every light pole pretty much is
Really?
separate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Okay, what do we do with Dross? Is that for the tree out there by the?
No, I think that had
That
to
was
do
for the
with,
sewer plant.
okay, thank you.
We needed
Mowing?
a track machine to go in and
Oh,
devegetate.
yeah,
the
I thought
ponds.
that, yeah. That's Dross Landscaping, not Dross Chocolates.
Landscape, that's good.
I was thinking he was talking about the chocolate shop.
Who's Gabe?
$371 worth of chocolate would work for me.
Yeah, who's Gabe Ridge and Company?
He's our auditor.
Oh, Okay, that's for my bill.
Project Arts and Ideas, is that,
That's all
this?
I charged us.
Okay.
Oh, is it library?
Yep, library.
Project Arts and Ideas, the library?
Northern
No.
Tank?
No, Project
Oh,
Arts and
no, I'm
Ideas
sorry,
is
yes.
those are the kiosks that are going down at the fish,
That's
so it
right.
comes
Oh,
to the
kiosk,
DDA.
okay.
You have something,
Yeah,
so, you have
I was
something
like,
that's
that
similar.
sounds
Sounds a little bit better.
First person I've ever seen that can convey emotion through a mask. I saw your eyeballs.
So
Like,
what's
what did I
Northern
miss?
Tank truck?
That was Northern Tank Trunk was the brining of our roads.
Okay. Oh, finally, good. Project Art's Ideas, what's that?
That was, we just talked about kiosks down
Okay.
at
Kiosk.
Resort or 1220? What's that for?
That was for,
That big ordinance
the ordinance,
that took like,
Yeah, they didn't
Yeah.
shrink it.
yeah,
We have
3
to-
pages, was it? Yes, 3 pages.
we have to look at something different on that. I know that we paid, first thing I did was went back to look to see if we'd ever had any big bills like that before from the resorter, and we have, so we need to look at maybe a different typeset or something, because, that's a lot of money.
I looked up on the Michigan Press Association cheat sheet, and we can do a summary rather than printing the whole ordinance, as long as we specify where the entire ordinance can be examined. And that will save us a hell of a lot of money. We just have to tell Rosemary that we need you to
It's a summary.
prepare a summary.
Yep.
And then I would try and specify a lower type size. I mean, the Sheboygan News, they only do 6 point. Let me see here. And Vans, what-
Vans
Those-
is copy machine.
Yeah, so we and the library both leased our copy machines, and we're charged by page.
okay, who's Wex Bank?
That is our credit card.
Oh, okay. And then can you explain the last page, because I'm done with this one.
The last page, when you,
Yeah, this one, look. Is that kind of like a summary or something?
yeah,
Of
it just,
invoices?
yes, it just tells where they went.
Oh, okay, what category? Oh, that's helpful. So what would be the ones that fall under the township board? What would that mean? Is that like administrative, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
so, yeah, so vans would fall under the
Okay.
township board,
Okay.
anything that we do, here
And pay?
in this building and pay, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm good with the bills.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to pay the bills.
is there support?
Yeah.
There's a motion, is there support? Pay the bills?
Yes.
Click on.
Done, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Police report, chief?
Are we gonna do the budget?
Oh, you wanna do, hold on, chief. This was the budget, quarterly budget?
Yeah, so I spent the weekend, it's like trying to do an access draw on a system that to explain this, that you don't know. You have to know where everything is, where everything resides, and I hate access. So this was a learning experience for me. I was able to do a quarterly and then work through it. There were some things that needed to be moved. For example, I had the wrong GL number assigned to a bill. So it's a simple transaction to move from one to the other, so we kind of cleaned it up. If you guys look through, you can see the percent of the budget that's been used. Anything that's high, like for example, the state reimbursement for summer taxes, we projected that we were gonna get $9,200, and we have 9,000, so that's 99% complete. So there are some bills in here that, and these are revenues on the first page. There are some line items in here that we have a relatively low percent or 0%. And there are some that we have significantly high percent. And one of them that, or a couple of them that we have a high percent are, if I can find them here.
Board dues and memberships?
No.
No, the liability and contents insurance.
Yes, so we've already paid for that for everyone, for the library, ourselves, and the police department. When when we get through the audits, the auditor will tell us what percentage that we're supposed to, allocate to the other areas. So right now, if you look at the police budget, and I only was able to get the police budget and our general budget done. If you look at the police budget, they have 0% for those, because even though we've already paid the bills, we haven't been able to allocate it yet.
Is the police budget in here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
second,
there's another.
another staple pay, but
So on ours, for the general budget, right now, if you just flip to the last page, it tells you the percent used. From a revenue standpoint, we've only received 15%. And from an expenditures, for the first quarter, we've expended 21%.
Is that normal?
Well, I would hope so, it's only the first quarter.
I know.
25%.
We get most, our taxes don't come in until December, and that's the majority of our income, so you're not gonna see that until the end.
Okay.
I know you explained it, but I still don't understand it. 760%, 1,538%.
So those two bills, we reallocate the money. We've paid it, the township has paid it.
Okay.
It gets divided amongst the library, us, and the police department. One's workman's comp and the other one is liability insurance. So when the auditor gets here and gets through, he gives us the allocation numbers.
Okay.
And then we'll make that transfer
Okay.
to the other budgets.
Okay. Then, let me see here. Just bear with me. I'm on the assessor now, I'm just. Well, I would hope the elections would be 0.
Yeah.
Electric, okay. Street. Refuse collection and disposal, does that have anything to do with the thing over here, Mike? The recycle?
no.
No,
What is it?
it's different.
Is that just,
Okay.
that just our trash bill?
It says, hey, Don, it says Sexton here.
That's the cemetery.
Cemetery.
Okay,
It's an in and out too, Bob, so we collect the money and distribute it,
okay,
so it should.
all right. Why is the airport so under budget? I don't get it. I mean, they're talking about all this stuff they need and they've only spent $86.
Well, they have some expenditures coming up here because of the lightning strike. So there's some bills.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay. But no bills for grass cutting or?
We've been taking care of the, Doug,
Yeah,
we've been
we
taking
take-
care of a lot of the grass cutting out there, but they have a volunteer.
It's all
that's
been
got-
volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are we
There has been no
giving the parks guy money?
Yeah, so when I do payroll, as long as they tell me that they spent 8 hours at the
Good.
airport, it gets,
You need to get paid for what you do. Okay, airport, okay. Planning commission, they'll be spending some money because we're gonna need their help with this VA clinic. To block any road jams. Log jams, whatever you wanna call it.
Anything else?
I'm on parks right now. Equipment, 64%, is that because you probably bought something big, right?
yeah, that was the 12,800. You can see that line there. I actually had that allocated elsewhere, and we had to move it down there. It was for the mower,
Brand new mower.
the new mower that they bought.
Wonderful.
And that 20,000 was purposely put in there for that.
Do we use the contingency, the $50,000 contingency?
No.
Well, this as a start, if we could get this every month, it'd be great. We don't
I
have
don't
to
know if I'll
discuss
be
it
able to
every
do it
month,
every
but it'd be
month.
great.
Quarterly
It's a
agenda.
quarterly
Quarterly.
report, I don't know that it'll let me.
Okay, understood. I'm good with it.
Any more questions or comments? Okay, motion to pay the bills?
We did that.
Oh, we did that already? Where are we
To
at?
accept the quarterly.
Police, we're going to police. Moving it.
Gordon,
Yeah.
still awake?
I am, yeah. Thanks. Obviously, we've slowed way down. Don't have a ton to put in. So we've slowed down tremendously since Labor Day. We currently have 2 blight complaints that have been turned over to Township Attorney. One of them actually got resolved as soon as he received a letter from Rob Huth. And the other one issued another citation on that today, so they're actually moving now towards getting a motion filed in court to get the blight cleaned up. We have had several larcenies of catalytic converters, not only in the Tri-County region, but northern Michigan. They're primarily targeting businesses at this point in time, with vehicles being left outside. If you have a business with multiple vehicles, or even in your own driveway, make sure you at least park them. If you can't get them inside, park them under a motion light. We've been working with state police and several other county sheriff's departments. Burt Lake Christian Community got hit, and North Star Nursery also got hit.
Really?
So,
How many did they lose?
Pardon?
How many did they lose?
North Star lost 4, the Burt Lake Christian Community lost 3 catalytic converters off their vans. So, basically what they're doing is they're just coming in at night, they're sliding under a vehicle with a sawzall, electric saw, or cordless sawzall, cutting them off, and I guess each catalytic converter is anywhere from $900 to $1,500.
That's
So if you
the
see
value,
anything
the street guy
suspicious,
value.
somebody walking around with a sawzall, please call.
See anybody laying in their car.
And we're still not having any luck finding any new patrol cars. They're telling me it could be up to April, May, June next year. So I'm
Or
on
next
some,
fiscal year?
yeah, I'm on some list somewhere, but I'm not having any luck. It's gonna be a long wait.
What about SUVs?
Any police pursuit vehicle, they shut the lines right down.
So you're gonna have unused expenditures.
Very well, unless I can get them in June.
So we might be able to pay down some of it.
I'm gonna need 2 patrol cars.
No, I got it. I got that.
Do you want to talk your budget?
Yeah, I can. She also did my budget. We're actually looking pretty good. Obviously, there's been some expenditures that I knew that we were going to spend, so I've already kind of almost maxed those out. But I'll go right on salary and wages right now. We spent 21%. Vacation, holiday pay, 44%. Social Security, we paid 27%. Overtime, 0, because none of my guys have taken any overtime. Retirement, we've only paid out 18% of our retirement. Hospitalization is up to 33%. Healthcare savings plan, we spent 38%. And now I'm getting lost here. Operating supplies, we spent 65%, but I've got to get with you on that because I think there's some things in there that need to come out and put in the correct line items.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of that's gonna come out of our professional budget. And which brings to 1%. Contracted maintenance, 22%. Communications, 22%. Internet and website design, we've spent 0. Transportation, this is one thing that I am a little concerned about because we're at 29%. That's gonna have to do with the cost of fuel right now. So I do have a contingency plan put in place because we have a $5,000 contingency plan as well, so, which we've not spent anything out of that yet. Next one is electric. We're 34% on our electric. Natural gas, only 5%. Municipal building repairs and maintenance, we spent 30%. Repairs and maintenance on our vehicles, 24%. Then we have the insurance bonds and the workman compensation. She explained that earlier. We just haven't been billed for that yet. That happens after the audit. Computer services. I did have to buy 2 new computers, so that's actually at 110% right now. But there's also some software that needs to go over to our software that was included in that bill. So that 110% is going to come down. But that was one of the things that we knew that we were going to have to get this year, because it's actually violating with our lean terminals. So we had to upgrade 2 of our PCs in our office. But other than that, we're still looking good for the year. So.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are you satisfied now with the glide path that the retirement fund is on?
I am, and I think within the next 7 to 10 years, we'll be caught up. We just got to continue on that path that they have us on.
Okay.
So we call that an underfunded liability, not an unfunded.
Yes, it's underfunded, not unfunded. If we were unfunded, we'd be in big trouble.
Thanks for working on
Any
it.
other questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Well, I have where do the liabilities show up on the financial website? Are they public information?
Liabilities.
So
The
it's our insurance.
underfunded liabilities, for the
Now, okay.
for the police, for the.
So I get a quarter or actuarial report every year, and that's where that comes in. I can get you a copy if you'd like.
I'll meet with you if I need to.
Any question?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, reports. DDA, I guess it's me. The DDA is still, we're working on the corner, trying to get landscaping down there. We're working on getting water. Doug's been doing a great job keeping it up. It looks great when it's cut, and the lighting is phenomenal. Pat's made some great photos of it at night.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, it is. So right now we're working on getting water. We've got a couple options down there. We met with a local masonry contractor who walked through the township with us. This is all on behalf, most of it's on behalf of the DDA. Some of it's going to be, it might be township. I think it's all DDA, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
There wasn't much that wasn't
Yeah.
DDA related.
So we've had some concerns about the condition of some of the concrete, and so we met, this gentleman is a local masonry contractor. He went through, we're going to be installing some more red brick, putting more concrete walkway in front of Citizens Bank, just touching up the project.
About the lighting.
Lighting, I'm still waiting from Zimmerman Electric. I'm still waiting for a quote, have not gotten it. Can you totally hit that if we need, thanks, Jake.
We're talking about in front of McClutchy, right?
Correct, we got about four more fixtures to put up, thank you. What am I missing? Oh, light poles, we're still working on light poles, and charters, just a matter of them pulling their lines off the east side, and we're waiting on everybody, but it's slow but sure, it's coming along.
Are you gonna be able to do the little concrete for the Patton family?
Yes, we're getting a bid on that as well for the Patton family, the memorial right by the township parking lot for Justin Payton. I think that's the extent of it right now.
Mike, I have a question. You said you were working on getting water. Turn this on. You're talking about getting water to where and for why?
Irrigation to have landscaping down at the corner.
Okay.
We have a donation of a well.
The fish needs water.
Fish needs water. Fish out water. That's very good. That's very good. We have a donation of a well, but we have no place to put it. Wacon has volunteered to let us connect to them, but MDOT won't let us bore longitudinally in the right of way. Talking with Citizens Bank about possibly coming under the road from the bank, from their well. So we're still working on options, and hopefully next Memorial Day we'll have water and nice landscaping. And got a lot of good ideas. We have a lot of donors lined up to help make it just one of those, really eye-catching, eye-popping entryways into our community. DDA, let's see here, Park Commission, Doug?
Well, the grass is slowing down and the leaves aren't falling, but we're getting projects done. We have 90% of the first set of bleachers is constructed now. I met today with the guy about putting in the poles for the new scoreboard at the field. We have a line on the new infield mix coming in for the field. We're getting a lot of stuff done now that looked like we weren't doing it for a while, but it was because we didn't have time. So now we have time, we'll have it done.
Okay.
And we have a meeting on Thursday to do revenue streaming workshop, so.
I have a
We're
question.
progressing.
Can you, can you update us on the docks, please?
On the docks?
Yeah, where are we? The docks, the new docks?
Oh,
Yeah, like Little
that's,
Sturgeon.
we're about 80% done with that. Part of the concrete that we walked through with the gentleman was the new cap for the top of that. The statue that was being donated by the tribe.
It's not donated, we're paying for it.
Okay, well,
$6,500 bucks.
yeah. That was put on hold until the spring
Okay.
because the gentleman is in the process of
Right.
relocating and whatever. So that's moving along good. I'm waiting on getting the bid back for the irrigation down there.
Oh, wonderful, I was gonna ask that. How about
The tree,
you gonna be able to get rid of the tree?
it's in there to be done this fall, but I haven't heard back the specific date yet, so.
So, we had interference here, could you tell me again about the concrete?
That is part of the, when we walked through with the contractor,
Okay.
we looked at that, that's a major portion of that concrete is looking into that, so.
So the only thing left really to do in the spring is signage?
Yep. Plant the grass
Benches,
and,
benches. We got, in our budget for benches, we haven't done those yet either.
Nope.
It's in our bed, so.
You might wanna check on that, I think there's a deed restriction.
Nope, we have
We
one
can't-
little lot,
there is
we
a
have one
portion.
little corner of that parcel.
Oh, that's right, okay, I forgot, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug, that's awesome.
Thanks, Doug.
Can I ask Doug a question? Any update on the pickleball tennis court resurfacing?
Mike and I met with people from the DNR as far as grants, and they've told us that our best option to get grant money would be to do the tennis court and the basketball court, resurfacing. So we're looking into that now. It's a major expense for those courts. You're looking at about $60,000 just for the tennis courts to be redone.
Right.
So we have to explore every option we can.
Yeah, just to update, Doug and I met with the grant coordinator from the DNR Trust Fund. And we try and figure out what we can apply for in the way of grants through either the trust fund, the land and water, the recreation passport. And she gave us ideas how to bundle things, because we just can't do it all at once. We're gonna take our time, pick our projects and get them done one at a time. So, among them are a new restroom at the Pivot Beach, which would, welcome to the 21st century. Planning Commission?
Oh, I had one more question for Parks. Doug, did you look into a street sweeper? Cause I think we might be able to get you that with donations.
I did look into what we had talked about, and I think what you were talking about for $1,200
No,
is a broom.
It wasn't no $1,200, it was like $7 grand.
Well, yeah, what we need is a big vacuum, self-contained, water-contained, it washes, vacuums, everything is gone. Anything with just a broom that moves it on the street.
Yeah, I
Anything
got
I looked at was like 24,000, 25,000, and buying a regular vehicle, and those were all on the used.
Yeah, okay, let me talk to my posse, I'll get back to you.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Board, any more questions for Doug?
No.
Okay. Mr. Sherman, anything from Planning Commission?
Not at this moment, but hopefully, starting the spring, we'll do our master plan, so,
Okay.
we'll probably need some money then, Don, so, to hire somebody to run us through that, so.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Sherman. And
You're
by the
welcome.
way, happy belated birthday, I missed it. Mike, I missed your birthday last week. Was it last week?
Yes.
Yes, well, happy belated birthday.
Well, thank you, Mike, I appreciate that.
Yeah, FOIA report, Don?
The FOIA report was updated and uploaded to the website. Since the last meeting, we had 16 new. We provided documents for 7 of them, and 9 of them are pending payment. With 13 hours that were billed, that was a total of 14, but we get the bill for 13. That's it.
But wait a minute, did we get money?
No.
So out of the 26 FOIAs that we've gotten in the past couple of months, how much money have we got?
Nothing from any of them.
And we've provided no documents either, right?
Not for the ones that are pending bills, no.
So the FOIAs just keep coming? Okay. I guess that's all right.
Okay, thank you, Don. Sewer report, Mr. Kramer?
In addition to what I put online and sent to the board, Mike Ridley and I learned today that according to our engineer, it is possible that we will have a commitment from the USDA by the end of the month, or early November, but he thinks end of the month, including some grant money. He thinks it might be 2 million or over, so we're just gonna have to see. And then, of course, today, he sent us this new map that I'll also put online, that USDA will need to come do the phase 2 survey later this month. The last item is, we discussed today at our meeting, there are 26 property owners in phase 1 and phase 2 that might want to join their lots if they knew the facts about, you're gonna get billed extra if you don't join them and this kind of stuff. So we drafted a letter that Janet and I have worked on a little bit, and I wanna see if the board wants to send that out to those 26 property owners. I'll print them out, we just need someone to do this, to pay for the stamps and the 26 stamps and to address them.
Is that a motion?
Well, I just wanna see what the rest of the board thinks first.
Just being proactive about staying on top and letting people know that they better, if they're interested in combining their properties,
It better be by the end of the year,
it better
isn't
be
that
by
right?
the end of the year. And, or they'll get two assessments. And they may, of course, that may be their intent, they may wanna sell the property.
And that's fine too. I keep turning this off, there's not so much static.
Now,
But-
the subcommittee recommended that we just add a line, the very last line where, I put in, the assessor's contact information, name, email, and phone number, which is easy to do.
We just want everybody to know that they might qualify for that before and not after, so we're trying to make sure everybody's on the same page.
And that's okay to go out on township letterhead? I guess that would be my only
That's my question. I thought this is something, would this be something Chirp could do?
I just feel like that's, we have the sewer subcommittee, but it's not a township initiative. So
Exactly.
I
That
have
was
a
my
little bit of
point today.
a problem with township letterhead, I guess. I think it should come from
Not yet, it's
a
not
committee.
until
Do y'all wanna do it?
Could we use the authority of the township saying that they have, may not be, we recommended it and they have approved us approaching, or?
We could put, we will accept requests for combinations of your lots, your contiguous lots.
Okay, and that, so that the response would come
to the township.
To the assessor,
assessor,
actually,
and the assessor then,
would take care of it.
And I think the assessor is who, why are we putting supervisor? We had some issues with people not knowing where to go
Yeah.
with Chippewa Beach.
It
Well,
has
that's
to go,
not Chirp now, then, is it?
John's who's
yeah,
gonna
John's
do
the
it.
one that has to make the combinations and
Yeah.
or splits, yeah. So it should be assessor.
Mhm.
Um,
So
So you wanna restate that? You want the town?
I would get rid of
Or
get
the
rid of
township
supervisor, leave the township assessor with his contact info.
But we're not sending this out, so it's all new.
Well, I think it's
Yeah.
a good
We
idea.
sent it out, just
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
from,
it's just
not
not
with this.
Not coming from the
because-
township itself, it's coming
Yeah.
from CHIRP, so she wants to take off the letterhead.
Letterhead and Board of Trustees sewer
Okay, well, that's up to CHIRP then, what they do.
No,
I would say-
We can't tell CHIRP what to do. We can't tell a neighborhood group what to
Yes,
do. It's-
but-
No, but we can work with them, can't we?
Sure.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for, I think that CHIRP needs something that when a property owner receives the letter, it gives them some sense that it's official, not that who is this fly-by-night group that I don't know is and is recommending this, and if I do, am I gonna get in trouble? Of course, we'll have the assessor's name and telephone number at the bottom, but I think if we really wanna more than just sort of notify them, we could send them a letter and with no authority and say to them all, hey, if you don't combine your lots by December 31st, you're gonna get 2 assessments on the sewer if it's approved, so, but.
Well, if you send it out, you can adjust the letter any way you want. Bob proposed this one, but it's just a proposal,
Right.
and you can have a copy of this.
Yeah, but I'm asking, can we use the township as an authority that says that we have discussed this with them and they've told us to proceed or whatever?
Chirp attending the sewer subcommittee.
Yeah. I just don't like the Board of Trustees and, because that's all of us and we're not
It
all on the
becomes a
sewer
record
subcommittee,
that we
then
have to
it's
keep.
a township initiative, I feel like, if you, in the letterhead. I just think we should get rid of that and, then.
So you take off the names off the bottom, is what you wanna do?
No, I don't,
No,
you guys
no.
are on that committee, I would
It's
say Board of Trustees,
Sewer subcommittee, it
just
says
sewer
so.
subcommittee, but Board of Trustees is all of us.
Okay,
So just
Yeah.
sewer subcommittee
It could be something as simple
and
as.
no letterhead.
okay.
That's my,
It
that
could
would
be
be my
Recommendation.
Yep, my recommendation.
Could be something as simple as just in conjunction with the sewer subcommittee, CHIRP is advising you that blah, blah, blah.
The township
Something like that.
assessor
Yeah.
will accept,
Something really simple.
accept your
It's-
request
yeah.
for.
Because it is important to get it done ahead of time, so we don't have confusion and that rule ends up on my desk and when it's a mess, it's really hard to deal with, so getting it done ahead of time, I absolutely support.
Right, and since this is the beginning of October already, and we want it done by the end of December, time is of the
Yeah.
essence, make sure everybody gets one of these that
So there's
qualifies, so.
26 properties, is that?
26 properties.
And now,
Yeah.
do we know, I know John already has some requests, cause I've talked to people and sent them his way, so maybe some of these people too already have it done, cause we're also now putting a big job at the busiest time of the year.
Can you say that again? I couldn't hear you.
I know John has already talked to some of these people, I've directed people I've talked to that have called to him, but we're kind of putting John, like, hey, now here's 26 more combinations, at this time of year.
Yeah, well, they
It's
may
his
or may
crunch
not
time.
combine them.
Right, but, so we wanna get a letter out as soon as
Well,
possible.
I have the list that we gave to the USDA and I'll just pull the stuff off of there.
That will help him, I'm sure, having a list of those who.
Well, I think
qualify.
you've seen it, it says joinable,
Joinable, yeah,
or possible join.
yep,
Okay.
Okay.
alright, so we're gonna do that to. Thank you very much, Minnie, thank you very much for doing that. Oh, yeah.
This is, next item is the ethics and conflict of
Mike,
interest
Mike,
policy.
Mike.
Yes, yes.
Library.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to look at it.
It's like, wait a
I am,
minute.
well, all night long, I've been jumping the gun. Go ahead, Derek.
Alright,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
So, should I stand or?
Yeah, stand up.
Okay. Hi, Bob. So basically, there's a few items, events that we're doing in the library. This month is Michigan Library Appreciation Month. So right now we're encouraging everybody to stop in and fill out a little heart that just says a reason why you like our library, and we'll put it up on our wall and we'll give you a free book from the book sale room of your choice as a thank you for that. And then we also are going to have a staff picks display so you can see kind of what our librarians enjoy to read. We also are doing books for Bulldogs with the Inland Lakes principal Perrault. She'll be reading a story with a related craft on Tuesday, October 12th from 6 to 7 p.m. But keep your eye on the newspaper if she cancels, because I have not heard back from her in a while, so I'm not sure if that'll be happening. And then we have a little ongoing program we do every week called Fiber with Friends, where you bring in different fiber crafts and do them together from 5 to 7 p.m. We're doing a special instructional class on making stuffed pumpkins for Halloween. So that's on Tuesday, October 19th, and that'll be from 5 to 7. So that's it.
Thank you. Proceeding with caution. Number 10, ethics and conflict of interest policy. We need this, Bob, for our application. This is something they needed for the USDA.
Yeah, it'll serve multiple purposes.
Multiple purposes. We need to have this resolution.
We can't get our loan or grant for phase 1 without it, and we can't even submit phase 2 without it.
Yep. So, whereas the Board of Trustees recognizes that public office and employment are a public trust, and the Board of Trustees recognizes characteristics like honesty, loyalty, fairness, promise-keeping, accountability, respect for others, and integrity do not depend on one situation. Rather, they are behaviors expected by both township trustees and the public, and whereas it is necessary that adequate rules be provided for separating their roles as private citizens from their roles as township trustees, officials, employees, and appointees. The Township Board wishes to provide guidelines and principles for ethical behavior by township trustees, officials, employees, and appointees. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Board of Tuscarora Township, Sheboygan County, Michigan, hereby adopts and directs compliance with the following policies of ethics. I'm just going to do the cliff notes here, and we'll be here for a while. Public servants, the pursuit of public interests, ensuring public respect, avoiding impropriety, avoiding appearances of impropriety, honesty, and integrity. Those are all spelled out pretty well. Just and equitable treatment, offer or acceptance of gift or favors. No public servant, whether paid or unpaid, shall solicit or accept anything of value. Business transactions, engaging in business transactions which may cause the public servant to derive public profit, bias, or favoritism. Public servants should exercise the powers and prerogatives of office fairly without prejudice or favoritism. Personal gain from the performance of public duties should not engage in any conduct which would create in the mind of a reasonable observer the belief that persons will receive better or different services if they provide personal benefits or political support to government officials or employees. Conflicts of interest. In connection with any actual or potential conflict of interest, the following requirements are established by this policy. Business transactions, I think that's self-explanatory. Proposed legislation or pending decisions. Perceived conflicts of interest. Dual employment. No public servant shall engage in employment with any other agency or department of the township. Dual representation. Make full public disclosure of business involving the township when attempting to use his or her public official position to secure privileges. Familial interest. Family members possessing an interest in proposed legislation or decisions. Disclosure statement. Each public servant shall annually sign a disclosure statement which will address conflicts of interest, actual potential as described herein. I've attached that to the back of your package. It's the very back page. Disclosure of financial conflicts of interest. Public servants subject to disclosure should comply with both the letter and spirit of the regulations. Formulation of public policy, organizational versus personal loyalties. Supervisor's duty in order to encourage a broad sense of responsibility for both the results and methods of government action. Supervisors should develop a working environment that fosters constructive criticism and creative problem solving. Compliance, state acts, and there's a list of the different acts: Michigan Campaign Finance, Incompatible Public Offices, Local Government Fiscal Responsibility, Management and Budget Act, the Bureau of Criminal Identification and Records, the Michigan Penal Code. Public recourse. The public has recourse through local ordinances, municipal, state, and federal laws for unethical actions by all township representatives. The employee acknowledgement of provisions, violations. According to the state constitution, Article 7, 9, Michigan election law, Section 5 of all acts referred to in this policy, and policy also recognizes due process protections afforded to certain board and commission members under state law. The following are examples that provide for a specific hearing process or otherwise prior to the removal of certain appointed board or commission members. That would be the DDA and the Planning Commission. And the policy applies to all categories of township employment except for temporary election workers. And this is a resolution, and at the very back, before we get further into it, this is the Tuscarora Township Ethics Policy Yearly Acknowledgement Form. We will print our legal name, and to the best of my knowledge, the following items may be considered a conflict of interest for the duration of the year in which this form has been executed by me. And this is will be attached to this resolution
When do we do that?
right now.
Well, we haven't passed a resolution yet.
Well, we have to do it. Oh, when we'll sign it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Right now, I'm concerned about getting the resolution passed, because this is what we have to have in with our application.
So I have a question though. So, I'm just bringing up some stuff I've had issues with when I was a federal employee. Who's gonna advise me on this? Who do I talk to?
Talk to a township attorney.
So, do I go through you and say, hey, I need to talk to Rob
Sure,
about this?
sure. If that would be, Dawn did that when she had her, she talked to Rob about making sure that there wasn't a conflict of interest.
So before I sign this form and I have concerns, I say, hey, Mike, I need to talk to Rob, would you?
Microphone.
Right.
It's on.
And you would just hook me up? Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
These are actually pretty simple. I mean, it's basically if you have a family member that works for a company that does business with the township, you should list that family member. Things like that. And we can review it as a board. Once they're signed, we can complete them and review it as a board. If we feel that we need legal counsel, we can have Rob take a look at it. But this is something that we did in the private sector every year.
Okay, well, I
I'm
make
sure
a
you
motion.
did too.
Yeah, every year, plus financial disclosures. So I make a motion that we pass this resolution.
I second it.
Okay, the roll call, please.
Ridley,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
Blasvic,
Yes.
and Webb, yes.
So this is, resolution is, and you have to sign the back of this,
Yeah.
I think twice.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
hey, Don, can I get this by Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can get it to Aaron to upload? Okay.
Okay, and item 11 is discussion of COVID money and the report. We don't have to, they just changed it from the end of October till what, April or?
April.
April.
Yeah, because they don't even have the final rules yet.
Yeah, this is the compliance and reporting guidance, and then this is what's called the interim final rules. So this is bureaucratic.
Mumbo jumbo.
Well, it is. I can't believe I actually read it.
Fed speak. We call it Fed speak.
Fed speak. So, but the discussion of the money, the sewer subcommittee met before the meeting here, and they have a recommendation. Bob, you want to explain that?
We talked to Aaron today about and Mike will chime in on this, about our past problems with surges. And I've also made some contacts with the county finance director. And the number one issue with COVID money, as we all know, is we don't know what we don't know. We have to be careful when we spend it, because we can get audited and then we have to pay it back. So that's why we haven't gone forward on any of the projects that we talked to the county commissioners about. But there are 3 areas where it's a no-brainer, and those are HVAC, broadband, and wastewater. So when we talked to Aaron today, he had me pretty well convinced that to get a 25,000 gallon surge tank for about $50,000 would be very prudent, because it not only would help the commercial district, it's going to help every other district and every future district. Another thing that he pointed out, and Mike, you can chime in here if I forget something, is that with all this infrastructure money coming down the pike, we should do it just as soon as we can so we can get ahead of the queue. Because there's gonna be firms, and you know, it kind of bothers me, we're gonna have a problem if we do get, say, phase one financed, you know, we're gonna be fighting with a lot of other small communities, as he put it, to get work done. So his recommendation was, and we asked him 3 times, you know, if you were gonna do one thing to protect that plant now and in the future, what would that one thing be? And he said, $25,000 surge tank. And also, gallon, yeah, $50,000. And I do remember talking to Tammy some months ago, that she's always been talking about that. Could you address that?
We came close a couple of years ago, and we do not know where the peak came from. It was one day, it was in August, remember that? It wasn't in July, it was in August, and we don't know if it was a state park or if it was, they emptied the pool at the hometown inn. We don't know what it was, but it peaked us right to the max to where, you know, it just made.
We were
trying to
right
figure
at the
out.
edge of capacity there, and that's scary, cause you know, we can't reach capacity, it's.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not what people think, contrary to what people think, is it's gonna overflow and come down I-75
No, that's
after us.
not-
It doesn't work out that way. They believe me, we heard that during a lot of the meetings. What happens is that we have to process it, we have to treat the sewage faster, and we have too many nitrates, and we'll get dinged by the DEQ.
Yeah, and then we get violated.
We get violations, so it isn't like, you know, it's a matter of, so with this surge tank, or equalization tank, whatever it's called, we'll be able to handle overflow or a peak capacity.
And it'll even help us in the winter.
Help us in the winter, and it'll help the new phases that are coming into the sewer as well. So it is,
It would help the community as a whole.
My suggestion would be to authorize the supervisor to get with Mead and Hunt and plot a way forward and present something at the next meeting, if we want to proceed, is what I'm saying. If we do want to proceed, then we would say, Mead and Hunt, by the November meeting, we want to know what it's going to cost, give us a timeline, give us suggestions, bids, whatever you want to do, but let's get it done. If we decide to go this way.
So basically, that's your motion.
No, I'm.
well,
We have to-
Sounded good.
Yeah.
Sounded good.
do you want to, we should move forward with it, just the information, trying to get the preliminary steps done.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
that was
so
your-
we don't have to vote on spending the money, let's just get the steps.
Yeah.
Let's get the motion to get the information we need, and then we can go from there.
So I make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to get with Mead and Hunt, to pursue a equalization tank, 25,000 gallon, and, make a presentation at the next board meeting, for us to act on, vote on, yea or nay.
Okay, is there support for that?
I support.
Chancellor, all in favor? Aye. I have my marching orders, okay.
I have one other suggestion.
Yes.
One other thing that wasn't discussed at, this keeps going on.
I think it's all of them, I don't know.
Anyway, one other thing, that, about the COVID money that wasn't brought up, one of the expenditures that is, acceptable is hiring, someone to do the paperwork and making sure everything gets in on time in a proper manner and all that. I know, Dawn, you are overloaded now, and I understand that, and I wanna try to take some of this extra responsibility off of the office personnel, cause sometimes it's gonna get, once the project starts going, it's gonna get intense. So I would like the board to maybe authorize to get some bids, you can go to the auditor, the CPA, financial advisor, you know,
The MTA recommended the auditor, right?
yeah, well,
And
they
what we saw.
recommended any of those,
Right.
to use as a go-between, between us and making sure, went off again, I think I need some new batteries.
That's what it is.
But just to make sure that the paperwork's getting in on time and in the way, and I'd like to get some bids on that to try and make this as smooth of a transition as possible.
How do you feel about
So I
that,
guess
Joan?
I'm taking a motion.
I was gonna say, should we develop an RFP to approve for the next meeting?
Yes, I think so.
I mean,
Makes
'cause I
sense.
don't know that we have an RFP that we should look at it probably, right?
Right, exactly.
I agree.
Couldn't
I
Richard
think that
help
would
us
make
with
sense.
this?
Pardon me?
But we wanted to,
Yeah, auditor, that's,
cause there's also local CPAs that we've worked with, so we could, I think a bid,
Yeah, but we know, we need somebody that knows municipalities.
oh,
Right,
absolutely.
exactly.
We don't
And
want
but-
some,
Right, and
in
that's,
other words, if they're not a public CPA, you're not qualified to do it.
right.
My son's a
But we
CPA,
can-
he wouldn't be able to
We
do
could
these
do that, but should we develop a list of,
requirements.
should we develop a list of other projects that we would want them to manage as
I
well?
would think
Instead
that-
of just a one-off?
yeah, I think that's, we should have, talk about, I don't hate, I'm getting tired of special meetings, but at the
Yeah.
next meeting, let's have ideas that we would like to propose that we use the COVID money for. We know right now that we like the idea of a surge tank. Also wrote down, an administrator, whoever's gonna take care of the office work, cause this is so top heavy in detail for the
That's
reporting.
it, yeah, that's what we're saying is
Right.
do an
Yes.
RFP.
So we know we
can
have
get
those
that
two
meeting.
things.
Those two things, but we've already committed some of the, go ahead, Bob, explain about the
Well, you
county.
may remember that the three of us made a presentation to the county commissioners, but as I told you, the finance director believes that it'll be at least a year before they address those, because we don't know what we don't know, because there are no final rules.
Right, and we don't have to have any plans in place until
Until
2024. So we can go very
Well,
slowly
no.
on this.
No, we have to have plans in place 2022.
April 2022.
Yeah.
Spend it
Yeah.
by 2024.
Yeah.
Yes,
2026.
right, so we have a whole year to kind of find out, well, not quite that long, but we have some time to work with the county to see if they will, co-op with us on some of these projects. And if
Especially
not,
cooperation.
then we can reevaluate where we're gonna spend some of the money, but.
I don't feel comfortable being the first people to start writing checks. I'd like to see how it all goes.
I am with
some
you
other
on that.
people
Yes.
first.
The rules are
And
so great.
That's what Sue, the finance director up there is saying, the exact same thing.
Yeah, let's do
Yes.
that.
The
Let's-
rules, just to make sure everybody knows, this is the COVID money that they sent to municipalities to help with, some extra expenses and try to make up some of this. We can spend it on tourism, we can spend it on certain projects. But the point is though, that there's no real good guidelines. It's all gray. And my thing went out again. It's all gray. And so, if we spend it on a project that we think is very appropriate, and they come back and say, nope, didn't meet our qualifications because the qualifications came back after the fact or something, we have to pay that money back for that project. So we have to go very slow and wait for guidance on how to spend this money. Because I would rather not spend it and maybe even lose it than have to do something and then pay it back. And then that would put the township at financial risk. So we have to go very carefully on this, so that's what we're talking about.
I think we already know the three things that they have absolutely affirmed that we can spend it on: broadband, wastewater, freshwater treatment, and.
Essential pay, essential
Yeah,
worker pay.
essential pay.
Yeah, essential worker pay, and there's another one, it's called.
Tourism,
No, it's called business, it's called business recovery and tourism, part of that, but
Yeah.
as Sue said, there's not enough rules out there and it's too
Yeah.
risky.
So
Yes.
that's where some of the ideas that they pass around is like you could support your local restaurant, or you could support some other, private entity. And where we know that there are other things that we can spend it on and that they've already approved.
Right.
Yep.
I need this. We need
Well-
this.
No, the resolution that was,
Yeah.
who
that was just-
proposed, I'm sorry, we'll get that at the end of the night,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, so
I did.
Okay,
that's your motion, right, Janet?
oh, to get bids for
To get
the
the RFP.
management?
To get the RFP ready?
Yes, yeah.
RFQ
Okay.
for book, for.
So, because of the VA clinic, I believe that this is the time to to start marketing our properties. We're not getting any revenue.
We're not there
We
yet.
got there yet.
Oh, I thought we were talking about it.
We're still working there.
I'm gonna support Janet's motion.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You said all right.
All in favor?
Before I support it.
Aye.
Okay. No, the next thing is the agenda protocol.
Okay.
We all had a chance to meet with Gretchen and talk a little bit about, we're gonna try and do these things. I don't know if this requires a motion, but we're trying to get the agendas out the Thursday, at least the Thursday before the meeting, get it online, have it up so you can see it online and hear. I'm trying to think of some of the other things, Gretchen, that
Work chart,
flow chart, work
Yeah.
chart.
yep, we have that.
That's on our agenda tonight. These are just things we're pointing out, that we're gonna try and, and I had a nice talk with Jay today. He came in, he had concerns, and we had a talk today. If you have concerns, we can't have a Q&A going on for 2.5 hours on a Monday night. This is, it'll wear us out.
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
See, sorry.
I've been confused for quite a while. So if you have questions, please stop in. We'll always make time for you. Or you call, make an appointment, email us. Would you like to? We've had some great input from people on things they would like to see. And there were some great ideas. This is what we're going to try and do: is keep you advised of where we're going, and you'll have a chance. If there's something that you read that you want some more information, if it's possible, we'll get it to you. If not, this is what I'd like to do. I don't think that requires a motion. We're going to do this. And then you said you're going to be adjusting a flow chart here at the end of the evening. Okay. Okay, that was our agenda protocol. And I would like to thank Gretchen Beers for taking the time to come in and talk to each of us for your ideas. They were really worthwhile. Thank you. Bob, real estate RFP, go ahead.
Right, so anyway, because we saw the,
My suggestion was to get your face in front of the microphone. Bob, you're very bad at
Yeah, you need to get right on the mic.
that's because I wear my hearing aids, and if I took them off, I'd shout and scream, so how's that?
Perfect.
Now you'll definitely be able to hear me. So in any event, because of the VA situation out there on M68, we've got that wonderful frontage, and we're not getting any revenue from any of this land. So what I did is I went and scoured the internet, and I found Grand Traverse County did an RFP a few years ago about hiring a real estate company to market all of that. So all I did was convert that to Word and replace the words with Tuscarora Township, and then I added the all the land at the industrial park. So all we would have to do, if you agree, is to put a short public notice that I'll be happy to write for you in the local paper, inviting people to submit proposals. There is one other thing I would like to do. I would like to have permission to prepare a letter for Mike's signature to send to the Michigan Department of Transportation, giving them 180 days notice that we intend to look into selling the property, the airport property on the other side of the freeway. We lost use of that when they put in I-75. So other than a height restriction, there's 7 acres sitting over there adjacent to the freeway that's also just sitting there, but we can't put that in here because we have to give the Department of Transportation 180 days notice. Because I read the grant.
You're talking about the land that's between 75 and I believe on the other side, Nunnery's property.
Right.
And then the
It's
the
adjacent
airport.
to Jane McGinnis's property. It's between I-75 and Jane's property.
Across the street.
Between I-75 and the street.
Right, and Victor. But I think there's Pat, isn't there a strip of land?
Yes, there is, and that has gone back to Nunnery's estate, because when we bought that one lot, they looped those parcels in by an error, and we caught it and had them change it, so it is back the way it should be.
Okay, and that's where the old ice rink.
Yeah,
used to
you
be.
can still see the ice
Yeah.
rink on the satellite
Yeah, the ice
photos,
rink
it's still there.
Yeah, so, okay, there's 7 acres there.
So did we find out, I have a question about that, did we find out if that is actually zoned FAA?
No,
It's not.
no, but it will have a height restriction, but there's nothing on the deed. Because I got the deed all the way back to 1890, I think I sent that to y'all about the airport.
But then the deed wouldn't have the zoning on it though, right?
But the deed would have restrictions and there were no restrictions, so I talked to the airport manager and he said that there would definitely be a height
Yeah.
restriction. And we would have to disclose that if we sell it.
Can we
But
find
it-
out for sure if it's, what the zoning is there?
I can do that.
Cause I- it
The
belongs to
the zoning,
The zoning. if
okay,
it's
the
zoned
zoning is,
FAA,
forestry and agriculture,
For sure?
yes.
Okay.
Everything on that other side of the freeway is that.
So we have a proposal for me to, you're gonna prepare a letter for me to sign for MDOT, that we're going to give them 180 days notice that we're gonna be selling or putting up a property for sale.
Right.
Correct.
And I would have to prepare a map and, you know, I'll get with Andy about it.
Okay, is there support for that motion?
I support.
All in favor? Aye? Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed or?
Yeah, cause I'd like to look at it first. I
Okay.
don't know about selling township property just on the fly when I haven't seen where the access or what it would be used for. So that's-
You, are you familiar with the property or not?
I kind
Oh,
of,
okay,
I just,
okay.
yeah,
Okay, I understand.
It's all our property in the park. On this RFP, it's only the property on the park.
right, that's
You're
all
talking
we're
about
talking
another-
about.
we're
We
talking
just did
about a letter.
two things at once, kind of there together.
Yeah.
So, well, you made the motion for,
This is
to
for
sell
The real estate RFP.
we haven't done that yet.
we
We just,
Okay.
you guys
Oh,
just
that's
approved
the
the
letter.
letter.
The
to
letter,
sell.
right, yeah.
Okay, now the RFP.
Okay.
Are you going to compose that RFP?
It's already done.
That's what you got. That's
Oh,
it.
It's right
You got
there.
that.
this is where we are, okay.
So that gives us time though, right, Bobby, to look at the property? The RFP is just an RFP, it's asking for.
We're two different things. RFP is different. This is different property. You guys just approved
A letter to
a
MDOT.
letter to MDOT to
MDOT.
tell them we're gonna sell
Okay.
the airport property.
Right.
And I don't know that I would agree to sell the airport property without. I mean, I would have liked to have known about that ahead of time, so I could have looked, but if you guys want to, that's fine.
Well, we're just.
We're not saying, no, we're not saying that we're gonna sell it. We're giving them notice
That we may sell.
that we may
We
sell
have the
it,
intent to sell it.
that we may, no, that we may.
That's what the motion was. Intent to sell.
Okay.
So, I just don't agree, that's all. It's okay.
Intent to sell doesn't necessarily mean we have to sell, right?
I don't know.
Yes.
That's why I didn't
Yeah,
understand it.
yeah.
I didn't understand it, so.
I'll give you $1. Does that mean you're gonna sell it to me?
Right, I think that's a bigger discussion, to sell property that is not, this has been for sale. This RFP, I totally agree with, we've had this for sale forever, we've never have discussed selling airport property.
Well, we can go backwards and start over. I don't mind.
No, that's just my vote, that's all.
No,
We're gonna work on.
I'm very accommodating.
Bob,
It's okay.
we're gonna move forward.
Okay.
We're gonna be here in our jammies, we're not here for
Well,
that.
that's fine. I got all mine.
Okay, the MDOT letter now, your request for proposal for real estate broker services. Motion to accept that?
I would make motion to accept.
Bobby makes that motion, is there support?
I support.
Dan supports, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Property application, this was just a paperwork adjustment that we had to do for 2021. Our assessor came through his audit with the state very well, except for one thing we did not do back in January, February.
We just had wrong language.
Had the wrong, did we approve it then? That was the only thing, we didn't have
We
the
should
updated
approve-
numbers.
We should approve a new application with the proper language.
Yeah,
Pretty
this-
much
this-
everybody in the county failed this. There were like 2 people that got the language right, cause
That's
it
the
came
only
out
thing
right
that he
before.
told us we had to take up, and update our numbers. These are the 2021 numbers.
And we can get rid of the numbers, I mean, John, we can leave them in if John wants, but that was the other thing she told us during the audit, is you can just say, according to the federal guidelines,
Okay.
Then we don't have to adopt this every year, we can adopt the corrected version, adopt it once, and be
This was
done.
the only language that they wanted out, right?
That the supervisor has the ability, it's the supervisor has the ability to grant
I thought we
poverty
took that out.
exemptions.
Did we take that out?
We didn't,
Vote
we
on
did
it.
not before the audit.
And I don't know where that's at.
I think we should wait on that.
Okay,
I would make a motion to table this till we know for sure
okay.
we got the right one.
My understanding was this is the only, under no circumstances shall a poverty exemption be granted on a principal resident purchased within 2 years from the appeal date. That's the only thing I saw for correction.
Nope, there's another sentence somewhere in there.
About the supervisor
About
being
the
able to vote on
supervisor.
it?
The supervisor cannot, previously the supervisor could grant a poverty exception on his own. He didn't have to consult with the board of review, they struck that, like right before the audit.
So can we table this and?
That's what Bobby just suggested.
Yeah,
We'll
I
table
think
this
we need
until
to-
next,
Yeah,
until November.
until we get some.
Yeah, cause we have plenty of time, we have
Okay.
till
Okay.
February.
Okay, flow chart.
That's in your packet.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I did a quick org chart, basically because Gretchen had asked, and I had a couple other people ask, who reports to who? And some people thought everybody reported to Mike, and that's not true.
What?
So I put together a quick org chart. Basically, it just think of the board of trustees as a corporate board. We're all equal. We don't report to anybody. We are all on our own. So and then same thing with the other boards. We have two other boards. So there's Parks and Recs. They're elected. Also the library board. They're elected. They have their own organization hierarchy. Parks and Rec, we share one resource, and that's Doug. Doug takes care of all of the employees, hiring and firing of employees and managing the employees. At the top, underneath the board, we have responsibility for the office personnel, and right now that's Betsy, so our office admin or assistant. The assessor falls under Mike because he's the chief assessor, and the assessing department falls under the assessor. We don't get involved in those. The board in general doesn't get involved in those. And then the police chief is also falls under the board, but the police department employees do not. They fall under the police chief. So, and that's dictated by MCalls, I believe, Gordon, right?
Yes.
I sat down with Gordon and he kind of walked through their hiring process, which is something we would never be qualified to be involved in. So, so I threw this together and had a couple people look at it, and basically it's what we're doing today. So I'd like to have this put out on the web under government.
Where are you gonna put it?
Under government.
Why don't you look at the web and tell me where you want it?
Okay, well.
I mean, you want a separate,
Yeah,
do you want a separate sub?
could be,
Okay,
yeah,
all
just
right.
org chart.
All right. If you send that to me, I'll make a suggestion.
So,
What it is.
is there anybody that, basically, I didn't put names on there because then you have to change it every time. and
Yeah,
change
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
think
fine the way it
position.
is.
So if you want to take a look at it, and is there anything that anybody doesn't like or thinks needs to be changed?
I don't have a problem with it, I think
No,
it's good,
it's
it's
good.
excellent.
Okay. So do we have a motion?
Motion to accept the flow chart.
I make a motion, we approve the flow chart.
Is there support?
Support.
Bobby supports. All in favor? We'll put this on the website? Somewhere on the website?
I will,
Sound like a song.
and I'll send you all a link, I promise.
Is the
Okay.
org chart dated? Is it dated?
No, but
No,
we,
it's not.
yeah,
I
Good
would
idea.
date it,
yeah.
Okay.
so
Good
if you
idea.
ever
Great
update it
suggestion.
later.
Very good idea.
Good idea. Okay.
Good idea.
Okay, you wanted to discuss the hiring policy?
So she did the org chart. We have multiple drafts, we have a recent draft, and I think there's a way forward to get this done quickly. I would suggest that we take the last draft this flow chart. And then anyone who has a question on that draft, write it down and give it to Dawn. Then Dawn or Mike, either one, takes the draft, the questions, the flow chart, and gives it to the lawyer, and let's get it done. I mean, we've been working on this forever, and I just think we all have concerns, and this really helps. It really, really helps. And I think we can get this done if we just put our questions down and give Rosemary or whoever the flow chart and the draft and say, you know, craft it legally for us. Get it done. What do you think of that, Bobby?
I think this outlines it, because that has been my concern with it the whole time, is when you look at this, you see that the board is responsible for hiring 3 people, basically. I think the assessor is more than just Mike making that decision. In the past, it's been a board.
Yeah, we
So,
approved the
yeah.
hiring.
But by outlining, we're gonna hire these 4 positions and putting that into the hiring, I think that takes away my question. Because my concern was we were going further down the flow chart.
Right,
With,
we wanna
with
keep it
what it said.
general, not
yeah,
And this-
specific.
yeah.
And this allows for future expansion, you know, if we have to do cemetery work or part-time this or.
Right, that's covered under office personnel, I
Right.
think, and I think we could list people there, like right now we only have 1 person, maybe we put that in for the hiring policy. But yeah, that clears up my concern, was that we were too broad, we were trying to cover too many people,
Mhm.
and it was going to get ugly and sticky where
And
we didn't need it.
you know, the most
Right.
important part of this whole thing is what Rosemary put in last time, that equal opportunity phrase down at the bottom. We really
Yeah,
got, that's really important.
Yes,
So basically, it gets back to just say what you do and do what you're saying.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
this is pretty much it.
Yeah, and you had some concerns
So,
about.
isn't there a single
Right,
point?
yeah,
isn't there-
exactly, yeah.
Isn't there a single
This
point
takes
of
care of what my
contact?
concerns were.
Isn't there a single point of contact with the lawyer, Mike? So we just provide questions to Mike if we have any, or issues to Mike. And then Mike sends the draft, the chart, and the questions to the lawyer and says, give us a policy.
yeah, figure it out and let us know
Can I make
what
that
we need to
motion?
do.
Can I make that motion?
You just did, I think.
Okay.
Can we set a date for when we have to have those questions to Mike by?
Friday would be
The
good. Yeah,
Does that work for you?
No,
Monday?
Monday.
Monday?
Monday. Okay.
Monday.
I amend my motion to Monday.
Okay, I'll support that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Oh my God, 8 months of work, we just got a motion, oh my goodness, that's wonderful.
Okay, citizen comments? Citizen comments? Yes, sir.
Just a question. Who is the chairman of the board that Dawn suggested you guys emulate?
I would be the chairman, I would be.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
chairs the meeting.
Yeah, I'm not, I have 7 or 8 statutory duties, and one of them is moderating meetings. So,
I think that'd be helpful to clarify that. Or clarify what the roles and responsibilities of each box is on that.
There's a little red book, the MTA,
I know, but
that
so-
designates.
But link it to the process of the flow chart that you just
You mean
created.
the statutory duties listed with whichever trustee.
You created a title or a function. Now, what roles and responsibilities go with that function?
That might be a good idea.
At some point.
thanks, Jay. Yes,
Who stole the clock?
put it back in the other office. And it
He's
keeps,
afraid somebody's
it's
gonna
amazing.
steal it.
Yeah.
He was
somebody-
afraid
I'd come in
someone
here
would
was gonna
steal
be
it.
gone, and I'll go, boy, I'll tell you, time flies. Just it was gone. Yes, sir.
So, just a counter, just based on my own experience, anything you have to say, you say it once and you say it in one place. So I don't agree with putting all the statutes under the boxes. If we already have a document that says it, say it. Otherwise, if it gets mistyped or some confusion gets generated, you say it once and you say it in one place.
Thank you, sir. Public comment? Yes, ma'am.
I want to know if we as citizens are allowed to talk to you about where you think this COVID money should be spent, if we have suggestions or ideas that against
Oh, I think it's.
Oh, absolutely.
Perfect.
So are you gonna discuss it then next time?
Yeah, we should put a link up to these, because this is really, I mean, this is compliance and reporting guidance, and then there's, I mean, within these two documents, they'll tell you where, and that's kind of the tiptoeing place, is that we don't want, like Donna said, and Janet said, we don't want to get into a situation where we say, it would be really nice to be able to spend it here, we do it, and all of a sudden we're paying it back. Well, we would like your ideas, and
Right.
they're,
I think the broadband, that's a real pet peeve for me, and for all the I mean, for citizens, students, everyone. Broadband is really, to me, a high one for me. And you said, didn't you, Bob, that broadband is one of the top ones that they
Yes.
clear, no questions
Yeah.
asked. So that would be my suggestion, but.
okay.
Like one of the things we could do is, for a very small amount of money, you could have free broadband from from the bridge all the way downtown, all the way down to the nursery, to North Star. Sheboygan, the city of Sheboygan does that.
Okay.
Well, outside of the Chippewa Beach area, I've been working with Grandview Beach as well.
Right.
And Charter to get them to do a brownfield survey on Grandview Beach because they also are in the same situation that we are in
Right.
Chippewa Beach. They're looking at that. We already know there's going to be a couple of stumbling blocks with the amount of frontage that the Conservancy owns. So that may be an area where we could use some COVID money to help support that neighborhood getting this, broadband access through Charter. We're waiting for that survey to be completed. There's other neighborhoods, I'm sure. I know there are probably some on the west side of the lake because I've heard people talk about it. So there's areas that we can.
We really need help on Park Road and that whole southern area south of M68. There's just, Chief, is there anything out there at all? Out your way? So it's basically satellite or nothing, right?
Well, you can get satellite. I actually paid Charter to come further down my road so I could get it at my house.
Oh, wow.
Do you mind my asking how much you had to pay them to come down to your house?
Well, it was already somewhat down King Road. It ended up costing $3,000 to get them to go from where they had stopped to my house for me to get a $235 bill every month. So.
Now, is everyone aware of the Presqu'île project?
Yeah.
Anybody, Presqu'île Electric? Okay, so if you're on the west side of the township with Great Lakes Energy, just a second, that electric company put in 1 gigabyte fiber to every home serviced by Great Lakes Energy in the township. Now Presqu'île is going to do the same thing, but it could take, what, 3 to 5 years?
Yes, that's what you're saying.
The way it's going, it's be longer than that.
So they did get a sizable grant, and it's going to take a while, but it's screaming fast. This 1 gigabyte fiber for $99, and you can get, I think for $39 you can get 250 megabit. I mean, that's more than enough to watch movies in 5 places.
I kind of like the dual path.
TrueStream is actually working on the west end of the township. They actually are working, putting in high-speed internet.
TrueStream is owned by Great Lakes.
Yeah.
It's the same concept as electrifying rural areas in the 30s, only with broadband. Same thing.
The REA. Public comment last?
Yep, can we get some money for Mike's chair before he gets hurt?
I wrote that down. I wrote down new chairs. I'm gonna propose new chairs.
We can't use COVID money.
That doesn't count.
He already had COVID.
Public comment? What's that? Oh, that was Bob.
Okay, so you and Bob.
No, on the code of ethics, who made the motion?
I did.
Bob made it. Was Janet, did you second it?
I think so, yeah.
Do we know why they're taking the
power down on the 14th or whatever the date is?
14th at midnight, which would be the 15th.
14th and 15th, 2 days.
Starts at midnight on the 15th. No, I looked it up. I looked it up and it just said, the latest one I got from Carl and Smith said 14th, which is,
Was it midnight of the 15th and midnight of the 16th, so both those.
It's for switching the new substation.
Yeah.
Yeah, the email from Carlin says their crews will, doing some work. The outage is scheduled the night of the 14th, actually beginning midnight on Friday the 15th. It should last 1 hour, unless there's some complications. They sent postcards out, it does have to do with that substation they put in, on north end, right on the other side of the bridge there.
thank you.
Should only be an hour.
So it's not tonight?
Not tonight. I thought it was. It's not. Well, you told me and I believed you. You're the internet.
Trust but verify, trust but verify.
Okay, any more public comments? Good lively meeting, appreciate everything. Board comments,
Yes, I have one.
go ahead.
I would like to see, I don't think it's going on. I would like to have us, start the discussion of possibly hiring an, office administrator. Dawn is doing yeoman's work there, but I think we have to set her up to succeed, not to fail. So therefore, I think she needs some more help in that office, and I think we have to start discussing what the needs are, how much it's gonna cost, and when do we need it. So, I'd like to have that discussion starting next month.
Board comment?
Led by Dawn, I hope, since she knows what we need, or should know.
Figure out what I need.
Yeah.
Board comments? Yes, new chairs, we'll have that discussion next month. I am. Ridiculous.
They're only $500 a piece, it's ridiculous.
Check mine out. Okay, no more board comments. Really would like to thank you all. It's been a great meeting. Please travel safe home. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So move. Take care of yourselves.
Wow.